Hello and welcome into another edition of State of the Sun Devils alongside Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred. I'm Jeremy Schnell. So we haven't done an episode in quite a while, guys. It's been a while since ASU men's basketball won a basketball game, 6 games to be exact. But hey, they won a game yesterday. But I guess that wasn't the only storyline to come out of yesterday's game at
Probably
It
Kent
was
not
the
even the
State.
third
second
biggest
biggest
storyline.
storyline. Yeah.
Third
Third
biggest
biggest.
storyline was that they won, which is no good.
That's never a good sign. So Jayden Quaintence. Nah, we'll get to him in a second. Oh yeah, some guy just is not with the team anymore, and that is
Not only some guy,
the team's leading scorer, Damon BJ Freeman, no longer with the team.
yeah, we got word just a little bit before the game on Sunday that, this was going to be going down. It just got to a point where BJ, I guess, really couldn't get out of his own way in a sense. You going back to the back-to-back flagrant two ejections and the after that the suspension for conduct detrimental to the team, and then further conduct detrimental to the team now brings on the dismissal. It's just been a crazy whirlwind of 4 weeks for BJ, I think. And, hopefully he, turns a corner and becomes better for it.
Yeah, this is probably the right decision for both sides here. It's just too many instances of just stuff going bad regarding BJ, and it just things kept piling up, and he was kind of beyond his third strike at this point, and whatever has led to this most recent no longer with the team announcement, that's kind of like strike 4 or 5 against him. So I wish the best for him going forward. Hope that he can keep his emotions in check, I guess is how I'll say it, next year when he goes to a different program, because he still has another year of eligibility left. And, I hope that he lands on his feet and ends up becoming, having success somewhere else.
This is the second year in a row, guys, where mid-season one of
Third.
ASU's really, yeah, third. But last year, obviously, a key contributor in Jose Perez decided that he was going to explore professional opportunities in the middle of the season, and now this year, the obviously BJ Freeman no longer with the team here for ASU. Let's move into what this means for the team moving forward. Damon, obviously a big win yesterday in the Little Apple against Kansas State, and it was it was kept going bad from bad to worse, and you're like, man, now BJ Freeman's not with the team. ASU, like, what are they going to do here today? And they came out and they showed that they still got fight in them. What is this loss, though, in terms of not having BJ Freeman for the rest of the season, mean to the team overall?
I think it's huge, especially with what we're going to get to in a little bit with Jayden Quaintance going down at the end of that game and just what that meant there. But as well as like they were already down to a 7-man rotation, and the Quaintance injury might bring it down to 6, depending on, if he has to miss more time. And, I think the one good thing you can say about the situation, just like long term going into these last few games and into the Big 12 tournament, is just Joson Sannon started to look more like himself again a little bit in Sunday's game, where he's, hitting these pull-up shots a little bit, getting to his spots in the mid-range. I think he started to look a little bit better as a shot creator as far as what he's looked like since the injury. But not only that, Amir Ali going 3 for 6 from three, I think was huge. There was a point where he took 4 of them in a 2-minute span, which I think was maybe a little trigger happy. But if he can take that next step and contribute more on a consistent basis, I think ASU's kind of set up to handle these last few games okay. Obviously, it's going to be a tough final stretch of the schedule, with the only unranked team left being Utah, which just fired its coach. So maybe just one more game that you pencil in a win for ASU, and then the rest you got to hope for an upset, I guess. But I think really
You
it
can never
comes down to
pencil in
those
a
young
win with
guys.
you can never pencil in a win with this team.
No,
It,
you're
it
right.
seems
But
this season. I mean, the Colorado game comes to mind and how close that was the second
Well,
time
I
around.
mean, you can pencil in a win. You just can't.
lightly
You can
pencil it in.
you
Yeah,
can't sharpie it. You can't
You can't
sharpie it.
Sharpie in a win.
right.
Exactly. You're going to have to be able to erase that. Not even a pen. There's no whiteout that goes over this. It's only pencil because you got to be able to erase that quickly. But anyway, in my opinion, I just don't know what this BJ Freeman loss means, because it's immediately they go out and win for the first time in 6 games. So it's like, you do raise the question, was he the issue? And I think that's something that is definitely fair to ask. And because, again, they came out and they looked, frankly, better than when he's been on the court this season. And they won a game by double digits, which we haven't seen in a really long time. So I just, who knows? I'm not saying that it is the reason that they won, but it is just interesting when he uh, is not with the team the first game that they win. So I don't know if there's a correlation there, but maybe this sparks them in a way, because maybe he was a distraction in the locker room and things like that.
Damon, now let's get to the unfortunate news, which was Jayden Quaintance going down late in this game, probably his best game of the season, if not one of them. Go down. He goes down late. Some saw him walking on crutches after the game, so not great. What obviously this is third or fourth time that he's been injured this season. There was a little possibly not ill intentions from the other team, but could have been seen as dirty in terms of how he went down. What do you think about if it doesn't go well in the next few games and Jayden doesn't play, right? If he just sits out, what possibility of shutting him down for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation because there's so much linked between Quaintance and Hurley and whether Hurley stays in the position. And, there's a lot of sense where if Quaintance stays, then Hurley stays, or if like Hurley can get Quaintance to stay, then Hurley will stay. Um, I think that there's an element also just of, yes, this is a 17-year-old and like he has had these ankle issues and now he's having this knee issue and it looked like it was maybe a non-contact injury. And, Bobby Hurley said after the game, we're not sure what it looks like because he's normally a guy that just pops right back up. And, he did pop right back up to a certain extent after this one, but then immediately kind of went back down there under the basket there. And like you mentioned, it was one of his best games, if not his best game. 18 points, 1 point away from a career high, had a block and 2 steals as well, and hit his first two threes, which was pretty impressive because he had only hit 4 all season prior to that. And so I think it's going to be a big decision, certainly, whether to deal with it, but it might not even be a decision at all, just in terms of what the injury might be. I mean, it might be like a torn ACL or something like that.
I think they should shut him down if it's not, if it's like a knee sprain or something like that. Again, let's be real here. They're not making the tournament. I'm sorry, they're not going to win out in the Big 12 championship. There's too many good teams that will be playing in this tournament. And, he's a 17-year-old. You've got to take away the team aspect here and focus on the player in this instance, because you got to think about his future. And there's no point in playing him in kind of some meaningless games at the end of the season when he might not be fully healthy, which is a shame because, again, like I think that it could help him develop, but at the same time, you've got to protect his health. Like, I would love to see him continue to develop his shooting from the free throw line. He made 2 threes yesterday. That was really encouraging to see. But I just think that it's time to shut him down. If there's been too many of these injuries this year for me to feel confident that, it's okay continuing to play him in, again, games that are kind of meaningless.
Now let's move on to different things good happening around Sun Devil athletics. Obviously, the win was great yesterday to see for ASU men's basketball, but season not going the way that ASU fans would have hoped. But ASU hockey, they're looking good so far this season, and obviously getting close to tournament play. They're very, very close to getting into the tournament. They had a great weekend, I would say. Obviously, going to overtime against Western Michigan on Saturday and losing, not great, but being able to split that series with them against a team that's in the top 10 in the nation. We've seen that time and time again over the season, Jesse, where this team is able to compete with the best in the country.
Yeah, I think it's really telling that they're on the bubble still, though, for the hockey tournament, because I think that they need to think about expanding that tournament. They're in second place in the quote unquote or debatably the best conference in the country, and they're on the bubble. I think that that's a flaw in the system, and I think that your standing in your conference should take into more or be more considered in your standing for the tournament, because and they've got some big wins this year over Denver, and you mentioned Western Michigan, so
Michigan as well at the beginning of the
Michigan,
season.
yeah, yes, and I think that it's weird that a team that is second place, and so it's like, for example, a men's college basketball team in the SEC or the Big 12 that is second in their conference not making the tournament. I think they need to expand a little bit. I believe it's at 20 teams now. I think 24 teams would be a good number for them to expand to in the NCAA men's hockey tournament.
Uh, let's talk about baseball. They're off to a hot start, 6-1 to start the year. Uh, their first loss came in the first game of the series against Oral Roberts. They won the
Was
next.
Max Abmas on the team?
Is he still playing somewhere?
No,
Where
I
did he
think he's
go?
in the G League. He's in the
He
G
transferred to
League.
Texas like after that one run. Like,
Do you remember that? Yeah. So they took the series against Oral Roberts and 6-1 on the season. They're playing well. Great series the week before against Ohio State, the best opening weekend crowd in ASU history. So a lot of hype around this baseball team. It'll be interesting to see how the season goes for Willie Bloomquist and the squad.
The
Jordan
College World
Tyson.
Series. Oh, go ahead,
And
Damon.
oh yeah, Jordan Tyson's
Jordan
the pitcher
Tyson threw
now.
out the first pitch.
Yeah,
He's
he's
got to
pitching.
go down to the bullpen for ASU.
So I need to shout out Jordan Tyson from the rubber. He went from the rubber.
Big time.
He didn't go in front of the mound. I get so angry when I see first pitch throwers going from the mound. You need to channel your inner George W. Bush and go from the mound. And I didn't actually see the pitch. They've kind of shown on the videos of him. They've shown just him. So I'm guessing the pitch didn't go that well.
Oh, it went great. I've seen video.
Okay, you have seen video?
He's a heater.
Okay, so it right down the middle, or
it was like a little bit off to the right from the catcher's angle, but
no
pretty
bounce,
down the middle.
No bounce?
No bounce.
Okay, good. Because the only
is this what we're doing for our baseball conversation?
I mean, I am a big proponent of first pitches, but and doing them from the mound.
Excited for the season to come for Willie Bloomquist and the squad.
I was going to make my point, and then I got sidetracked. My point is a College World Series run would be huge for Arizona State. It's a dormant powerhouse program.
Sleeping giant.
No, not a sleeping giant, because it's been a giant before.
Napping giant.
Yeah, napping giant.
It's a napping giant. It's a napping giant, and a College World Series run would be huge for this team. Going to Omaha, that event only seems to get bigger every single year, and I think it would galvanize the ASU community. Not quite where football did, but it would be close, and I think that would be super exciting. And I think that they've they're off to a good start. So who knows from here?
Do want to say it's been awesome to see some of the returning bats make a big impact. Brandon Compton, feel like that's been one of the most impactful so far. He had a walk-off in that Ohio State series. He's just been absolutely raking down at Phoenix Muni. And, there was that one score where it was 17-10 ASU over Ohio State, and everyone got to make their jokes about ASU being a football school over Ohio State, which was fun. And I do want to say also, Oral Roberts was a College World Series team just a couple years ago. And so winning that series after losing the first game was a big one.
Yep. And it's crazy how many games the softball team has played so far. 15. Obviously, with softball, it's shorter games and they play a lot of double headers, but 15
They played the
games
tournaments at the beginning of the year. That's the big.
Yeah, it's crazy. So 10-5 start, not bad. Obviously, a rebuilding program after their great NCAA tournament run just a few years ago. So it'll be good to see, the second year of growth for this program. And then women's basketball, Jesse, they won in double overtime, finally snapping that 12-game losing streak. Ty Skinner, also co-player of the week in the Big 12.
Yeah, with Haley Van Lith, which is pretty cool. Haley Van Lith, an Olympian in the 3-on-3 over the summer. So she's sharing that honor with an Olympian. And, she's been a bright spot on Jaylen Brown and Ty Skinner have been bright spots on a bad ASU women's basketball team this year. But you look at what she did over the Ty Skinner did over the week. She 23.5 points per game, 4 assists, 2.5 steals per game, shot 46% from downtown. So
8 for 9 in the BYU game.
Yeah, a really, really good performance from or good week from Ty. And I'm happy that they were able to at least get another win before the end of conference play. And if I'm not mistaken, this might be their most conference wins under Natasha Adair. So let me check that real quick.
It'd be nice for them to get to double digits. Obviously, they have 9 wins at this point in the season. They're 9-19. Would love to see them get to that 10 mark. They got a few games left to do it. And obviously that overtime was something else, Damon. They went on a 14-2 run, only giving up 2 points in that overtime. So the defense really showed up there.
So it tied their conference win total from last season.
One more win, get to double-digit wins on the season overall, and get that record for Coach Adair, hopefully building toward the future.
And then they do need 2 more wins to tie last season, 3 more wins to pass last season's total in total.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of State of the Sun Devils. Thank you so much for listening and watching. You can find us on all forms of social media at AZ Sports Devils. You can find all of Damon's articles on ArizonaSports.com and the Arizona Sports app. For Jesse Morrison and Damon Allred, I'm Jeremy Schnell. We'll talk to you soon.